Hello again, viewers of the world. We are the Squid Sisters, back once again with James to bring you some more Nintendo Switch reviews. The first one we'll be looking at will be... Okay, look, I don't know what she's doing right now. Callie, where are you? We've already started.
Ugh, oh come on! How did I miss a box? Oh, hey Marie, I was just... Ow! Hey! Ow! 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 What was that for?
Callie, when the schedule says 8 p.m., they expect you to be here at 8 p.m. What the hell are you doing?
I was just playing some Crash Bandicoot to pass the time.
Waste time, more like. Which game is it? Well, no wonder you're late. You were seriously trying to get the perfect run relics?
So what? I've completed everything else.
These relic runs could cause aches and cramps to your fingers. Now you go to the lobby and rest your hands.
But there's nothing wrong with my...
Now, Callie!
Alright! Fine!
Don't worry, everyone. She'll be back in a few minutes. In the meantime, let's talk about Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time.
Marie, could you pass over a soda?
You're kidding me. Get it yourself!
I'm resting my fingers, remember?
It's about time!
The warning signs were there from the very start. Everyone and their uncles had said that this was the hardest game in the series to 100% complete, and nearly everyone didn't enjoy the experience. And it was very clear that this game was made for hardcore lifelong fans who can finish the PS1 games in their sleep. And considering how much I hated the experience with completing the Insane trilogy, I knew that I would never complete this one. There is no need to. I have seen the evidence and that I should leave it alone. And yet, here you are. Okay. One more time. I will associate myself with Crash Bandicoot one more time. That supposed Wumpa League game or some Crash Bash remake doesn't seem to be coming to the Switch, so this will be the last time. If I complete you and reach 100% completion, at the very least, you will leave me alone, and I will never play anything Crash Bandicoot related ever again. You got me? Why am I doing this? Why am I purposefully wasting my life on Crash Bandicoot? There are loads of things I should have been doing instead. I could have spent all of that time editing, producing more pictures or stories for DeviantArt, making lots more videos for you people, actually finishing my Equestria Girl series, talking to my friends online. But instead, something from the darkest corners of my mind made me pay real money on this. If my curiosity was a living person, I would strangle him, pin him down onto the floor, continually punch him hard in the face, decapitate him, smash the rest of his body in with a sledgehammer, cover it with gasoline, and burn the remains. What, did that sound too graphic? Well, I'm sorry, but I'm usually full of dark, offensive thoughts when I'm angry, and this game has made me unbelievably angry. But before I reach my breaking point, let's talk about the story. So, this game takes place right after the events of Crash Bandicoot Warped, where Uka Uka has spent the last few decades opening a dimensional portal to escape the beginning of time. Opening up the rift has also awakened the Quantum Masks, 4 supernatural masks that can control the portals. Lani Loli, who can phase objects in and out of existence. Akano, who can produce a limitless powerful spin attack. Kapuna Wa, who can slow down time. And Ika Ika, who can shift gravity at will. Meanwhile, Entropy breaks away from his alliance with Dr. Cortex as he plans to create a rift generator to reset the timeline to his own liking.
I'm going to reset the timeline and rebuild it to my liking. I will become a god.
You said in the 3rd game that you were the master of time. Aren't you already a god? So, Cortex must team up with Crash and Coco to find the Quantum Masks in order to reach Entropy's dimension, destroy the rift generator, and close all the dimensional portals. But then all of a sudden, Dr. Cortex stabs the Bandicoot in the back and kidnaps Kapunawa to travel back in time to 1996 and stop his past self from creating Crash in the first place. I'm surprised he didn't think of doing that a lot sooner. Oh yeah, and they also bump into an alternate Torna, who's trying to avenge her dimension's counterparts of Crash and Coco by defeating a female Entropy. Oh, and there's Dingodile, who just gets thrown into the story accidentally and is just trying to get back home to the Mosquito Marshlands. Okay, this is a more detailed story than the ones in the original trilogy. There are more subplots, some twists, some character development, and hey, it did something that Wrath of Cortex didn't do. It immediately follows up from the events of the previous game, like Crash 2 and 3 did. While we're still talking about positives while I still can, I really like the game's presentation. The Toys for Bob art style looks really nice. Loads of detail, loads of Easter eggs, and you can see later parts of the levels from miles away, like hidden gems or platforming mazes. I was a bit concerned about the character redesigns at first when I first saw the trailers, but now I think that these are the best character designs in the series. Dingodile's design, Coco's, Entropy's, Embryo's, Engines, and etc. While I wasn't really paying much attention to the music because of reasons, from what I did hear, it was really good. Not really as catchy as Crash 2's or 3's music, but some of them I actually really liked. I really enjoyed the writing in this game. Not just in the story, but the majority of the dialogue. Some of the jokes got a few chuckles out of me.
Does this mean I have franchise potential? Am I a franchise? Could I open a restaurant? In an airport?
Frank! Filthy rodent! Kill my favorite minion, will you?
They had the balls to put in a few swear words, something I didn't expect at all.
Give him hell!
Oh, bollocks, my head hurts. Ah, bastards. He'll get every last one of yous.
And the way Cortex was portrayed in this game was hella amusing. I swear, he was turning more and more into Dr. Eggman the more I played this game.
Masquerade as me, will you? Well, I'm you from the future, you idiot! I'm not an idiot! You're the idiot! Jeez, haven't seen mushrooms that big since I left the Gigantizotron running overnight. Why did I have to choose a Bandicoot? If I just stuck with the Wombat, this all could have been different.
And the voice acting was really nice as well, with some really nice performances from Lex Lang.
I can go back to where it started. I can undo my greatest failure.
Aiden Regal.
Sorry to interrupt, but existence could end at any minute, so can we hurry?
Ursula Tararain.
I'm not losing you guys in this dimension, too. I'll handle this.
Fred Tatasquire.
Bandicoot. Follow. Ah, Struth. Who cooked it? Heat was too high. That's why it was all rubbery inside. Subpar grill marks, too.
Richard Horvitz.
If these chuckle nuts weren't punching holes in reality, we could open our own rifts. For now, we're stuck taking the long route. But I sense another rift around here somewhere.
J.P. Carlaic.
Once my rift generator is complete, dominion over all of time and space will be within our grasp.
And Roger Craig Smith.
I've got a reward for the clever bandicoots who can reach my testing grounds, but you'll have to defeat my deadly, diabolical creations along the way.
That sounded so similar to the insane take on Embryo that I didn't even know it was him. But what I find weird is that they only got half of the Insane Trilogy's actors to reprise their roles, but then they replaced the other half with new actors. I think Corey Burton didn't voice Entropy this time because they wanted a more cunning and more evil take on the character. And I definitely know the reason why they couldn't bring Jess Harnell and Maurice LaMarche back, but what was Debbie Derryberry doing at the time? Oh, Tigtone and Blazin' the Monster Machines? Okay. I know this is all a nitpick in the grand scheme of things, but it just made me tilt my head a little. This game feels more like an actual Crash 4 than Wrath of Cortex. It took what made the PS1 games so beloved and either expanded on them, made them better, or they just didn't fix what wasn't broken. There are so many quality of life improvements in this game since the Insane Trilogy. There is a modern mode where you don't have any form of extra lives, meaning that you can die over 1,000 times on just the one level and will not get a game over screen and start from the beginning again. Although that option is still there for all of those masochists out there. The Wumpa fruits and extra lives won't fly away when you spin them. The second you destroy a box, they just immediately fly into your counter. Unlike Crash 3, you are given a double jump by default, and this one is much better than the unlockable one from before. There is now a yellow shadow marker underneath you, which makes the precise platforming miles easier than before. As an example, they remade a section of the high road from Crash 1 in the level Bears Repeating, and the shadow marker makes it much easier than the original. If you are playing this game casually, when you're just going from the start to the finish without collecting anything, then this is the best Crash game I think I have played, possibly second to Crash 3's casual playthrough. But that's the problem. This game is only ever enjoyable when you are playing it casually, when you are not going for any boxes. But when you are going for 100% completion, It is a long, painful, torturous, time-wasting, life-draining, unfair shitfest. I once said 2 years ago that the Insane Trilogy was the hardest game I have ever played. Well, I'm going to go back in time, slap my past self in the face, and say, no, this one is. I don't care if it will create a time paradox, it'll be worth it. And I am not the only one who has this opinion either. Literally every single person who has reviewed this game agrees that this is a real grind, to the point where the experience can be infuriating. Even Crash Bandicoot veterans who have played the PS1 games their entire lives say that this game has taken it way too far.
The change in difficulty from casual to completionist is like going from easy mode to you will be a wrinkly old corpse before you finish this.
Crash Bandicoot 4, the collectathon nightmare from hell, where more than 70% of the game's 100% completion mentality seemed to be directly inspired from Cold Hard Crash, the one level from Crash Bandicoot 2 that nobody fucking liked fully completing.
You remember how many of us Crash fans out there thought that getting all the boxes in Cold Hard Crash was this big, massive challenge? Like, oh man, trying to do that death route, this is the hardest challenge in the franchise. Oh, to be young and naive. And I've never missed just a couple of boxes so many times in any other Crash game before. It gets to a point where it's not my fault, it's the game's fault.
Look right there, Jesus Christ, I barely see that son of a bitch.
Do you have any idea how much your heart sinks to get through a massive level and break hundreds of boxes only to find out you missed a single box?
This is on a level far more extreme than the original game, and you remember from that review how much I hated getting 100% in the first Crash game. It's 10 times worse here, for varying reasons, which is impressive, but come the fuck on.
This is pure psychotic torture, and whoever designed this stage, please know that I hate you because this is outright gross and disgusting.
I have played a lot of games in my days, guys. You've been here for a long time with me on this journey. It's been a blast. When have any of you ever heard that I got physically exhausted or burnt out while playing a game because it was really hard to play? My thumbs have cuts and bruises.
When looking at all the optional stuff for getting all the secret endings, which is par for the course in every other Crash game, it's some of the worst stuff I've ever played in a platformer. And I have played through all of these levels so many damn times, I have no desire to ever go for completion with this game ever again.
Let's start by talking about what you need to collect to 100% complete the game, starting with the gems. First, you get 3 gems if you collect 80% of the Wumpa fruits in each level. They are the easiest gems to get. Wumpa fruits are either scattered all across the level or are inside loads of boxes, which you will be spinning a lot of anyway. Next, you get 1 by breaking every single box in each level. This is where my ranting starts. Well, that didn't take long, did it? I don't really think this one would be that hard to obtain if it weren't for the fact that they constantly hide boxes in places you would never think to look. This shit happens as early as the first fucking level. That is your rude awakening to how awful this game is, and it gets worse and worse from that point on. They are hidden up in the sky, places where a slightly fixed camera can't reach, in tires covered up by the bonus room platform, behind some massive stairs, in areas you would think would be out of bounds, and places that are blended into the background in terms of color or being behind fences or other unbreakable boxes. This kind of shit only happens maybe once or twice in the original trilogy, but here it happens in every single solitary level. No one is ever going to think to look there. They are naturally just going to let it run it by you. Therefore, you will have this shit happening way more times than you ever did in the originals, and you have no choice but to follow a guide online. I know that's the coward's way out of every game, but If you don't want us to use guides, then don't hide them in places we would never ever think to look. The next gem is by finding one hidden deep within each level. Okay, these I can understand hiding them in really tight areas, or in places where you need to grab them quick before you die. But even then, some of them are really hard to find or are out of view, and some of them are shown in plain sight. So, the boxes that you need to break are harder to find than some of the gems that are supposed to be hidden from sight. And finally, you get a gem if you complete the level through 3 deaths or less. This gem is the sole reason why getting all 6 of these gems in one run is damn near impossible, especially in the second half of the game. These levels have so many obstacles, enemies, pits, TNTs, nitros, and tricky as fuck platforming challenges that doing it all less than 4 times takes a lot of time and a lot of restarts. At some point, I had to do one run of each level where I destroy all the boxes and maybe find the hidden gem too, and then I do a second playthrough where I try to rush through them for the death gem. I know the amount of time I waste will keep dragging on if I do this, but it's the only way. There are also some color gems that you need to find in 4 levels that will unlock hidden areas to smash even more boxes and unlock an absolute gauntlet in toxic tunnels. This isn't like Crash 1's colored gems though, where you have to complete everything in these stages without dying a single time. Pfft, that would be stupid. They are collected the same way as hidden gems, where you need to find them. The yellow gem was piss easy, since they subtly show you where it is in the opening cutscene. The red gem is a tiny bit harder to pull off, but at the very least there is a hint just before you enter the room. The green gem doesn't have any hints though, as far as I could see. So how is one supposed to know that you're supposed to spin the dustbins to send an RC car into a nitro crate to get it? But the blue gem. This motherfucker was the one I struggled with the most. You have to get it the same way you got the blue gem in Crash 2, where you have to make it to the end of the level without breaking a single crate. But while Turtle Woods only had one difficult box to jump over, Dragging On has hundreds of them. Boxes are constantly blocking your path, and you occasionally have access to Akano, who destroys everything he touches with his spin power. But we're nowhere near done. Once you have beaten the embryo boss fight, the game suddenly, from out of nowhere, unlocks inverted mode. This has unlocked a mirrored version of every single level and every single boss fight, and each world has a different visual filter or gimmick, from a radar type filter to a neon type filter. Salty Wharf is all white and spinning sprays color everywhere. That's cool. I'd be okay with this if it was just an optional addition, but every single inverted level also has 6 separate gems you need to collect, and the hidden gems are in different and more harder places to look. Why? Stop making me use fucking guides! You might think that collecting all of these gems again, but just with different filters, might not seem too bad, but the snacks dimension has a slow as hell underwater mechanic, which wastes even more of my life if I had failed to grab the death gem and have to restart again. And Mosquito Marshlands has an old film reel filter filter that speeds everything up. The 2 levels that have a hair-tearingly difficult section with the food boat, and another level that has the hardest rail grinding section in the game, and you have to do them both at twice the speed to get everything. And then there are the flashback tapes. These are little collectibles that can unlock some extra levels in the hub map, where you play as Crash and later Coco in simulated experiment chambers, back when Crash was training to be the general of Cortex's animal army, and where Coco was going to be his much smarter backup Bandicoot before she escaped. Now, these levels may be really tough and require a lot of thought and strategy, but the first 10 or so ones are nice little diversions from the main game. There are no death gems here, you can die as many times as you like. When you know what you're doing, they can be a bit enjoyable, and they also provide a bit of lore to the series and lots of funny dialogue.
Embryo, bring me a Wumpa fruit. The Bandicoot's obsession with them has given me a hankering.
But Master, your allergy.
Oh, it's fine. You can clean it. I'll surprise Embryo with a nice dinner. Embryo, prepare yourself a surprise dinner. Maybe next time I'll try a hedgehog, or a bobcat, or a gecko.
But the only way to collect these flashback tapes in the first place is by making it to a certain section of a level without dying once. But the problem is that most of them are either at the middle of the level, or in the case of the final few ones, they are very close to the end of them. You have to get through this entire section with the quantum masks and everything before it without dying a single time just to get the tape. And most of the tape levels are way too hard, way too precise, and take way too long to complete successfully. I mean, look at that! This is fucking ridiculous! And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but some of Cortex's dialogue sums up my feelings every time I fail a level.
Nah, experiment failed. Nah. Rats! Embryo, the Revivotron. Confound it all!
But if you thought getting the flashback tapes is the worst thing they are forcing you to do in this game, you haven't even seen half of my time completing this cock block of a game. Look at this. This is known as a perfect run relic. There is one in every single level, excluding the boss fights. What do you have to do to earn them? Well, you need to get 80% of all the Wumpa fruit, break every single box, and make it to the end of the level without dying a single time.
What?
What the fuck is wrong with you people? You are expecting me to get all of these boxes that are hidden so badly that even the camera can't see them. You expect me to break them while trying to survive these stomach-punchingly difficult platforming areas, but you are expecting me to do all of this shit all at once without dying a single fucking time? Why? Of all the things from the original PS1 trilogy that you would have brought back, why in the holy mother of fuck fuck would you bring back that frustrating element from Crash 1 that literally nobody liked? I didn't like it when they brought this shit back in the Insane trilogy, in the college gem levels from Crash 1, but now you are forcing absolutely everyone to do this shit in every single solitary level. Have you seen your own fucking game? I have wasted about 20 hours of my life just trying to get all 6 gems in separate playthroughs, and it has taken me thrice that amount of time just trying to get these fucking relics. Because in the majority of these levels that are unbelievably hard, have insta-kill traps, or require you to do certain things in one shot, every single time you lose a life in any of them, you have to restart the entire level and sit through a 25-second long loading screen. Every single time. Now, when I announced on Twitter that I was going to suffer through this game, everyone kept telling me, just do a casual run of the game, don't do all of this completion torture. But, 1, if I do a casual run, I'll just see all of those empty gem slots, and I would have this constant itch at the back of my head telling me that I should do it, and that maybe I have the capability of doing it. 2, I'm a completionist. I feel like I should do this. A lot of people give autistic people a bad name. Well, this here is to show you somewhat that I can do a lot more than some people think. And 3, I am doing a review or an opinions video on this game. I need to complete the majority of the game in order to get the whole experience. Some people didn't like it when I said that I only watched half of Season 11 before reviewing it, so I suffered through the whole game to get my honest opinions out there, controversial or not, for a video that hardly anyone is going to watch. It's because of this completely pointless collectible that never should have been in the game in the first place, since we've already got the fucking flashback tapes, that I had to give up playing this game multiple times. There were loads of times where I kept endlessly failing on all available levels and thought to myself, I can't do this anymore, and gave up. First I gave up at truck stop, and then later I failed at off balance, and then I run it by you, and it kept on going. But I think the hardest perfect relics that I have played in this game are Shipping Error, Crash Landed, Rush Hour, Toxic Tunnels, and Seeing Double. Shipping Error just because of the Cortex section. He's my least favorite character to play. Rush Hour because of either the Dingadar section with all the nitro boxes, or the traffic sections in the Torna part. Crash Landed because of the abysmal ice physics, the jittery and imprecise Smurgle section, or the Ika Ika mechanic, which I still, at the time of this recording, haven't gotten used to yet. Toxic Tunnels because of the giant coloured gem gauntlet that has no checkpoints, by the way, those spiked minecarts, or those fucking cockroaches. And Seeing Double because not only for an even harder version of the Quantum Mask gauntlet at the end, but I went from disliking Cortex's gameplay to hating it. I hate his jump, if you can even call it a jump, and his blaster never hits anything. And one of the harder perfect relics to get, for some reason, was rock blocked. For some twisted, satanic, ungodly reason, this was the level out of every single other one in the game that I had the most difficulty with. And it wasn't even because the level was that hard. I mean, it's a Dingodile level. It's because something tiny kept on fucking me over. Every time I pressed the wrong button, or the game didn't register the hover jump, or I couldn't slide over the lava, or the still spin didn't do what it was supposed to, I had to do the entire slow Dingodile segment all over again. Even though I like Dingodile's gameplay, there is only so many times I can do a long drawn out section of slow walking and box breaking, doing the exact same routine over a dozen times before I feel like giving up and doing something else. I had gotten 4 gems on this level before, I only just forgot a few boxes and that dickish hidden gem. Why can't I just complete this level? This isn't that hard! Now, after all of that shit, all of that torture, all of that pain and anger and waiting in loading screens, all 75 hours of it, yet it took me longer than Cadicrous's playthrough, I had done it. I had gotten 100% completion. I had gotten all of the gems, all the inverted gems, all the colored gems, all the flashback tapes, completed them all with platinum medals, and I had gotten the majority of all of the perfect run relics. And I am not using someone else's footage this time. This here, what you're seeing on screen, is my save file. Here is everything. The only levels I hadn't gotten the perfect relic for are Crash Landed and Toxic Tunnels, but that was because I physically couldn't complete these levels in one run. That tedious and precise Schmergle section, after all of that hard as fuck anti-gravity sections and ice physics, and having to do the colored gem route along with avoiding all the electricity, fire, bats, rats and cockroaches. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I had wasted hours upon hours upon hours of my life completing the other levels that I had mentioned, and I feel like that it was just pure fucking luck that I had managed to complete them all. But this is never going to happen with these two. Oh yeah, and as for the time relics, fuck them. I'm not doing any of them. I have already wasted too much of my life with the perfect run relics, dying and failing on these levels over 1,000 times just for that. Well, I am not going to fail 1,000 more times just trying to get the platinum relics. I tried to get one on the first ever level of the game. I did my absolute best, even with the unlockable triple spin, and I only got the gold relic. I can't do it. I refuse to do it, because it's not like in Crash 3 where the secret ending is locked behind the gold relics, even though that still sucked, or in Crash Team Racing where it was unlocked behind the sapphire relics. Here, the secret ending is locked behind the platinum relics. Do you want a punch in the face? Because you're sure as fuck going to get one if you're not going to start making anything in this game easy to obtain. But, believe it or not, it was originally going to get even worse. Originally, in the demo of this game, there was a system where there was a Wumpa Fruit counter, indicating that they were originally forcing you to get every single Wumpa Fruit in the levels. Thank fuck they didn't stick with that, and that they had only made it to 80% for the gem. But that didn't stop them from putting in platinum relics, or perfect run relics, or platinum medals. I don't know what motivated me to do this. Why did I decide to do this shit to myself? I had said this loads of times, but this bears repeating. I am wasting weeks of my life that could have had me doing something more worthwhile just to get a single perfect relic. I have done a lot of shit video game wise for the past 15 years. Legend Spirit battles, challenges, the Brutals rematch, Darkside in general, picture matching games, the Perfect Run, Champions Road, World 9-7, Mario Maker as a whole, Shy Guys finish last, though I'm getting ahead of myself, special stages, fishing, silver medals, hard modes, Eggman Lad hot dog missions, buying all this Lego, treetops, flying levels, Gulp, the Twin Dragon robot in Fireworks Factory, complicated movesets, Lionel fights, rain, armor upgrades, slippery climb, the Lost City, cold hard crash, pissing it away, rings of power, hot cocoa, finding all the boxes, gem collecting, crystal collecting, flashback levels, getting all the gold relics, getting all the platinum relics, getting all the perfect relics. It is all infuriating. It is time-consuming, and it is just torture. Unsympathetic torture. And I know what some of you are thinking. Ooh, you don't like anything hard or challenging. You don't want to use your brain. You just want everything to be piss easy. You are just a cowardly wimp. I'm not saying that I want everything in the industry to be easy. I'm saying that I want it all to be enjoyable. Video games are a form of entertainment. Entertainment is something that you could watch or play to put you in a good mood when you are currently in a bad one. Let's say that you had a stressful day at work or at school. A fun and easy platforming game can help you gain some positivity. A game that can still require some thought for newcomers, but is satisfying to keep on going, so that you can breeze through it no problem. But everything I had mentioned a minute ago, none of them are fun. They aren't entertaining, they aren't charming, and they aren't something that you can breeze through after beating them. They waste your time, they destroy all of your patience, they make you feel worse when you are already in a bad mood, and they can even hurt your fingers by pressing the buttons so quickly or trying to complete them for so long. I personally think that there is nothing redeemable about those things. It is utter bullshit. And I stand here telling you that Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is the hardest video game I have ever played in my life. I have now 100% completed it, technically, and I am not playing this piece of shit ever again. I don't care if it looks good or it has quality of life stuff compared to the Insane trilogy. I am not playing this shit again. And if you people know what's good for you, then I don't recommend any of you people to play this game either. I am going to repeat it because none of my viewers ever listen to me. Do not buy or play this game. I am not going to play this shit again. I am not going to talk about it again. I am not going to think about it again. And the Crash Bandicoot franchise can go fuck itself back to hell and out of my sight. I regret nothing.
So, Marie, who's your main?
Jigglypuff. Her singing helps calm me during my meditation sessions. What about yours?
Well, say hello to Blastosaur.
Blastoise!
A water type? Are you out of your mind?
Oh, don't worry. Ever since he was a little Squirtle, I've trained him good and hard. Now he's such a good boy.
Blast!
Ow!
Oh.
For God's sake, Callie! You'll be a puddle of ink with this one around. Huh?
Blastoise!
Yeah, go get him, boy.
Blah!
Wait, no. Ah!
So, what do we learn, Wicked Witch of the West?
Oh, shut up! Let's just talk about Pokemon Let's Go Eevee.
Don't worry. I've calmed down. I'm good. It's all out of my mind. I'm fine. I just really hope that the next game is easier to complete. Please, Eevee, give me strength. Here it goes. My first steps on a route that I'm not sure I'm willing to go down. My first steps into the franchise juggernaut that is Pokémon. You know, a lot of the games I have played on the Switch and have already reviewed were the first time I had touched any of these game series. Crash Bandicoot, Luigi's Mansion, Spyro, Crash Team Racing, Mortal Kombat, Legend of Zelda, all of them I had never played before. I don't know, these days I just feel like expanding my interests, exploring different genres and different franchises, see what I like, what I don't like, what I'll keep playing, what I'll drop and leave behind, you know, that kind of thing. And I had finally decided that Pokémon is the next game series I want to try. I just want to somewhat understand what half of the people I'm following love so much, okay? Now, I may not have played any Pokémon games, but I had definitely heard about it. I kept seeing loads of adverts as a kid promoting the newest games or toys or trading cards or whatever. Back then, I was never interested in it. I just saw it as one of those generic franchises with a lot of merchandise adverts, like Bionicle or Star Wars. But now that my 2020 self is looking to expand his gaming experience, the only way to enjoy what everyone else and their grandmothers love to death is for me to start at the very beginning, Generation 1. Except I never had a Game Boy or a Game Boy Advance, so now what? Wait, there's a Switch remake? Oh sweet, that's just what I need. And why did I buy the Eevee version? Well, I don't think Eevee has a starring role in any other Pokémon anything, so I wanted to have the one and only time where she is, instead of that yellow mascot cash cow. So, what happens in Gen 1? Well, you are given a vision through your dreams, or maybe you're briefly in some empty void, I don't know, that this research professional, Professor Oak, wishes to study every single Pokémon in the Kanto region. So he's asking you to get out there, catch as many of them as you can, and, if you want to, complete the game, battle them all in order to ride up and become a Pokémon champion. Huh. You know, I always wanted to be a chef when I grow up, but alright, Pokemon champion it is then. By the way, since there are no dogs, cats, or squirrels and things, all of these Pokemon are their equivalents. That would be like if you caught a badger in real life, and then you were personally training him to fight weasels or something. As it's tradition, you first have to select a starter Pokemon in Professor Oak's office. But instead of choosing either a Charmander, a Squirtle, or a Bulbasaur, you are only given whichever Pokemon it says on the game box. In my case, an Eevee. Aww, God, I love her already. And what did I end up naming her? Rosie. I don't know why. It was just the first thing that came to my head. I also named myself this. Not only because you can only have 12 characters for each name, but because I also wanted to separate myself from the other James in the game. Hello, James. Oh, hi, James. I'm going to battle you, James. Yeah, whatever, James. You're not going to defeat me this time, James. I've beaten your sexy Team Rocket ass loads of times already, James. It's clear I'm gonna do it again. Well, this time will be different, James. Look, just shut up and fight me already, James. And my friendly rival? Well, considering I have to constantly fight his Pokemon all throughout the game, I'm always one step ahead of him, meaning he can't do shit, and he happens to be the final boss of the game, having the most annoying, tedious, and frustrating fight in the main game. I better name him after someone I despise. Norman Price. Yeah, that seems about right. I can let out all of my anger on someone named Norman Price in the final battle. In fact, if you make his head ginger... the name choice is more fitting than I thought. Now then, my journey from a trainer to a champion? Oh boy, it wasn't easy. And it's not because I'm a newcomer to this series, but because there were some elements that kept on eating my time or were just really hard for me. But the experience wasn't as bad as you may think I'm describing it. I mean, anything is better than Crash fucking 4. From what I've heard, there are lots of improvements that have been put in since the original Game Boy games, or even some more recent games at the time. Every Pokemon in your party levels up every time you catch a wild Pokemon or beat a Pokemon in battle. Wait, that's new? The special techniques like water surfing, tree chopping, and pillar pushing were made much easier in this game than previously. Really? All of the wild Pokemon can be seen walking around in the overworld, so you can battle them or walk away from them by your own choice. Wait, really? It only took them until now to start doing this? And speaking as a newcomer, I personally like the range of Pokémon, figuring out which to send out into a battle, the battle system, and the fact that you can beat a majority of these battles with your Eevee partner. Seriously, for the majority of my run, I mainly just used Rosie here with 3 main moves. Tackle, which is just a punch in the face, Swift, a stronger attack that shoots Kirby stars at them, and my personal favourite, Sizzly Slide, which is not only a strong fire attack, but it leaves the enemy with a burn, meaning its health depletes after every turn. And since most of the trainers never bother to use any potions or burn heals, it makes the move all the more satisfying. For me.
He's a good girl, Rosie. Such a good little girl for learning such a powerful move. Oh, yes, you are. Oh, you fluffy little cute.
Though there are a few nitpicks or personal problems I have with the game. Like, why do the trees keep respawning every single time I enter and exit a building? The fast travel in this game isn't entirely that fast if I'm always having to open up a few menus to activate it. Why is Onyx the scariest looking thing in this entire game? Whoa! Jesus Christ. Since I'm never certain as to which Pokémon a rival will start with, why must I waste a turn switching my Eevee for a more effective one, leaving me open for attack? Post-production me, I found out that there's a way for you to equip whatever Pokémon you need in the party menu before you get in contact with the rival. But even then, I still don't know which ones he's gonna start with, so I don't know. Like, they unleash a water type, I spend my turn swapping Rosie for a Raichu or something, but since I didn't attack in that turn, they attack my Raichu. So that means I have to attack the water type with very low health, or I waste another turn using a potion, leaving me open for attack again. And also, in some battles, what gives the enemy the right to have their Pokémon attack first before mine? If they were a higher level than mine, then I understand. But when mine is a higher level than theirs, I just don't see how that's fair. And then there's the Pokédex. Filling it up wasn't really as bad as I thought it was going to be. I honestly prefer spending my time catching Pokémon than battling them. As painful as it sounds, I know. It's more relaxing, more intriguing finding the one you want to catch. It levels up your entire party much more than battling. And even more painful as it may sound, I like how catching them feels like you are throwing an actual Pokeball. That's my only problem with this. The way you catch them. The game forces you to use motion controls if your Switch is docked. It wouldn't really be so bad if it was more responsive, but I keep missing my target or losing more and more Pokeballs. At first, I thought it was because of where I was sitting, with this Xbox in the way. But even when I'm sitting up close and personal with the Switch, dead straight in front of it, I still miss. There's a much higher chance to hit that Chansey if it's standing right in the middle. But 9 times out of 10, it keeps jumping to the left or to the right, and it stays there for a solid 60 minutes before jumping back into the middle. But I'm always afraid that it'll run away before I can throw a berry or a ball at it. So I'm risking losing all of my Ultra Balls by throwing them at an angle. It was a nice attempt, but I'd prefer using buttons for something like this. Leave the motion controls to Mario Galaxy. And I think this leads me to my biggest mistake in my Pokemon journey. For some reason, I felt like catching the 3 legendary bird Pokemon, Zapdos, Articuno, and Moltres, before I had even beaten the Elite Four. I was eventually able to beat Zapdos in battle, but capturing him was tedious as hell. I wasted what felt like 30 Ultra Balls on this guy. But then, I beat Giovanni and was given the Master Ball. I knew I had to save this ball for Mewtwo post-game, but I didn't want to waste any more Ultra Balls, so I used the Master Ball on Articano after beating him. But then, later on, I managed to catch Moltres with just 6 Ultra Balls, after just remembering that I needed to use berries at them too. So then, post-game, I was spending a couple of days trying to get a Master Ball in the Cerulean Cave, since I knew Mewtwo would never be successfully caught with anything else. But then, after many failed attempts of getting one, I tried battling and catching Mewtwo with Ultra Balls, and it turns out... it worked! Mewtwo, the most powerful Pokémon in the world, can be captured without a Master Ball, just Ultra Balls and Golden Raspberries. I am new to this series, can you tell? And then there's the problem I have always had with this series, even long before playing any of these games. Why sell 2 versions of the same exact game? Why have game-exclusive Pokémon? Why do you have to buy another £40 to £60 on a very similar game just to add 5 more Pokémon to the Pokédex?
I want a Pokemon game!
But Timmy, I had just bought you Pokemon. You're not getting another one until your birthday.
But that was Pokemon Gold! I need Pokemon Silver! I really need that Sandshrew!
And the most common answer I have heard is online connections, trading Pokemon with your friends via linking cables and Wi-Fi. And this game in particular really wants you to use Pokemon Go, that app everyone is using, to get that Oddish or that Growlithe. But what about people like me? I don't have any friends, I don't have any online connections. Thanks a lot, you piece of shit! And since I never go anywhere, or never need to go anywhere, why would I ever need Pokemon Go? So that means I am not able to complete the Pokédex, either because I need to buy a similar game, I need to create an account for an app I'm never going to use, or buy a £50 controller. Yeah, don't think I didn't know about locking Mew behind a paywall, or doing an insane amount of grinding on Pokemon Go just to get Meltan and Melmetal. So, 151 Pokédex entries needed to complete the game, and I've only got 131. The only ones I haven't got are Sandshrew, Oddish, Mankey, Growlithe. I was given an Arcanine as a gift by one of the NPCs. Alakazam, Machamp, Grimer. Oh, that one is meant to be Golem. I never saw him in any battles. Gengar, Hitmonchan, Scyther, Pinsir, and Dratini. Though I did catch a Dragonite while casually flying post-game. Some I can't get because they were way too rare and I kept wasting all of my lures, and the rest I can't get because of paywalls and marketing schemes. I did manage to beat the main story mode though. I managed to beat all 8 gym leaders for the first time, caught about half of all the Pokemon, including the available Alonian versions from the Pokemon centers, beat the Elite 4, or, 5? Technically, caught Mewtwo, beat Green, beat the Eevee Master Trainer, caught all but about 3 Pokemon, and I think that's when I'll stop. I think I have done all that I really needed to do, but I don't feel like wasting any more lore searching for Hitmonchan, a Pinsir, or Dratini. I don't feel like battling the gym leaders again. Catching all of the shiny Pokemon will just waste even more of my precious time, and I don't think I'll beat any of the other Master Trainers. But even though the catching mechanic is a bit broken, the game takes way too long to complete, and some of the battles can be really tedious. Fuck you, Monster Coder! Stop using Protect on your mark! Just give me a chance! Yeah! I can't say I didn't enjoy this game, even when I felt like closing the game and continuing on with my work. I always felt like coming back to it. Unlike games like Mortal Kombat 11, I always felt like coming back and catching more Pokémon, seeing what I'll encounter next, if there was anything else that I had missed or I hadn't discovered yet. It's charming. The game is alright. While I'm sure die-hard fans would say that they would prefer Fire Red and Leaf Green as the definitive Gen 1 experience, I'm happy to just stick with Let's Go Eevee. And, you know, I actually wouldn't mind playing some of the other Pokemon Switch games out there. I think I'll play either Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl next. I've heard Legends Arceus was well received. I'm a little curious as to what Scarlet and Violet will bring to the table. And hell, I might even try Pokemon New Snap. Although I'm not sure about Sword and Shield though. Fans have been talking about those games as if they are the worst thing in existence. So I don't know. But for now, just one step at a time. One step at a time.
Wow, this guy has a really nice collection here. Not too shabby.
Yeah. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Mario Odyssey, Smash Bros. I know a certain someone who would splat for games this good.
Well...
Ugh. Nope, I'm not gonna.
Whoa!
It's absolute garbage.
Together we can show the world what we can do. You are next to me and I'm next to you. Push the on through until the battle's won. Till the game won't think to us. In each other we put our trust. Standing united after the fight. Before I say goodbye to you, one last hook.
Let me take you back to 2016, Sonic the Hedgehog's 25th anniversary year, and when Sega announced 2 new Sonic games to celebrate it. One of them being Sonic Mania, and the other one being what we codenamed at the time, Project Sonic 2017, a brand new 3D Sonic game developed by Sonic Team and having nothing to do with the despised Boom continuity. It seemed to have a deserted, destroyed city, similar in tone with Soliana from Sonic 06. Sonic himself is acting more serious at the sight of multiple Death Egg robots, and eventually meeting up with classic Sonic again. At the time, fans didn't know what to make of it, as with most teaser trailers, but we knew it was going to be something great. After all, the previously announced Sonic Mania was a celebration and a tribute to all things Genesis Sonic. 2/3 of the stages were old stages, reinventing them with new elements and layouts, callbacks to other Sonic games, brilliant new stages, and the whole cast of 3 and Knuckles were playable, with no add-on cartridge required. And I personally had this feeling. Since Mania was going to be a tribute to the Genesis games and CD, is it likely that Sonic Forces could be a loving tribute to the 3D games? Yeah, a few returning stages from the adventure games, Heroes, Unleashed, Colors, and etc. Maybe continuing storylines from those games, have the entire modern cast involved in a big way, maybe even getting to play as a few of them again. And looky here, it's being produced by the same people who made Colors and Generations, 2 of the most praised Sonic games in years. Maybe they'll be bringing back the boost formula and perfecting it. Maybe modern Sonic's levels will be entirely 3D, with the camera always behind him, while classic Sonic gets all the 2D levels. This game had a lot of hype. If it was going to be a respectful tribute to Sonic's legacy, they would need to deliver it the best way possible and get fans invested in the series again. And how did Sonic Forces deliver on that respect?
Wait, what? Oh, you're that Sonic from another dimension, aren't you?
I apologize, I can't pick up the phone, so leave a message after the upcoming beep. I need a shower.
James, listen. I know this game is awful, but you need to calm down. Anger isn't going to solve anything. Besides, you've completed all of the Sonic 2006. Hell, you said early in this video that you've completed Crash 4. After surviving those games, you can make it through this one. I'm warning you for your own good. The last thing everyone needs is for you to lose your sanity and your patience. Also, are you going to be paying for this interdimensional core, or am I don't know if they will accept Squid coins or British pounds. Bye, James!
Not to worry, Claudes. I shall pay with Squid coins. I will be over in a minute to pay Judd. Let's talk about Sonic Forces, shall we? So, do you remember the Phantom Ruby from Sonic Mania? Well, the game begins with Dr. Eggman somehow finding it and harnessing its power. Wait, so after many failed attempts and failures to take over the world, he only now remembers the Phantom Ruby? Anyway, somewhere else, a Jackal character, part of Team Jackal, creative name, gets beaten around by Shadow after infiltrating the facility, calling him weak. To show that he isn't, the Jackal creates a suit of armor, harnesses the power of the Phantom Ruby himself, and renames himself to Infinite. Yeah, this villain's motivation in this game is all because of some exchange you would find on the school playground. Not because Sonic or Shadow accidentally injured someone he holds dear, not because Eggman manipulated him with ultimate power. Hell, Shadow didn't even do that much to damage his face. At least, I think he didn't, since, for some reason, they cover it up in the cutscenes. With the Ruby's power, the newly formed Infinite uses the Ruby to create clones of Sonic's greatest enemies to take control of the city, which include Shadow, Metal Sonic, Chaos Zero, and Zavok? I would have gone with Heavy King myself, but okay. Speaking of which, all the Phantom Ruby did in Sonic Mania was teleporting Sonic to different stages from different islands. But in this game, the Ruby can now create clones, obstacles, and fake realities? I don't even think they use the Ruby to teleport you anywhere. Eggman and Infinite attack the local city. Sonic and Tails manage to save the civilians, but the Ruby clones prove too powerful for Sonic. Seriously, these clones are too powerful for him? One of them was originally defeated by a couple of small blocks to the head, and another one is the least powerful form of himself, without any Chaos Emeralds. After Sonic is defeated and captured, Eggman takes over 99.9% of Mobius? Okay, I guess Shadow and the rest of GUN were on annual leave during that time. So it's all hands, paws and claws on deck as nearly all the characters from the 3D games join together. Again, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Team Dark, Team Chaotix, Silver, everyone. Except for Cream and Blaze for some reason. Well, Cream, I kinda understand. I mean, Jesus, we don't really want to have a 6-year-old in the middle of a war zone. Well, the former has more brains, and the latter has more determination. Unless Cream's kindness can kill, she'd be better off under Vanilla's protection. But Blaze? I don't understand. She is willing to travel between dimensions to visit Eggman's amusement park or to attend Sonic's birthday, but not for this? She seriously thinks racing with the likes of Silver and Vector on Planet Wisp is more of a priority than Eggman ruling over 99% of Mobius? I mean, hell, if Silver is able to go back in time again to assist the others, why couldn't Blaze do the same? Anyway, after recruiting a new animal to assist, we find out that Eggman trapped Sonic on the Death Egg, where he's been, quote, torturing him for months. Holy shit, what the hell did he do? Absolutely nothing. Sonic is looking and acting exactly the same as he always does. Oh, for fuck's sake! Meanwhile, Tails is struggling to repair a damaged Omega because of anxiety. But it's been 6 months. Wouldn't he be somewhat used to these harsh conditions by now? But before Tails could fight back against Chaos Zero, or cower in the feeble position, because anxiety, classic Sonic suddenly appears out of a time portal created by the Phantom Ruby at the end of Sonic Mania. So eventually, the Avatar helps Sonic escape the Death Egg, Tails reunites with him, they blow up the Death Egg, which was channeling power to the Ruby somehow, despite the fact that it was able to power all by itself. But then Eggman has a backup power source for it, and I'm sorry, but I honestly grew so bored with this game that I stopped paying attention to most of the dialogue and the cutscenes. Eggman has taken control of most of the world. There's an all-out war against his forces and the Resistance, fighting against loads of Sonic's greatest villains, and I was completely disinterested in everything, not even halfway through the game. Sega and Sonic Team have sunk that low these days. Now then, the gameplay. Does it manage to redeem the game from its completely boring story? Nope. It is just as bad, if not worse. You take control of 3 characters in this game. Normal Sonic, Classic Sonic, and your own custom character. Yeah, Sega just now realized that the Sonic internet fanbase has way too many OC characters to fit on this planet that they finally decided to make you create them in the game series. I'm personally not the character creating type, so this customization crap isn't really interesting or engaging for me. So screw it, I'm just going to recreate Blaze the Cat as much as I can. If Sonic Team isn't bothering to make her a part of the story, then I'll make her a part of it myself. The dialogue won't match up with Blaze's character, but I'll try. Plus, she's my favorite character anyway. You can pick one of 7 species, each with a different minor advantage, attracting rings to you, having a double jump, and etc. You can make your avatar wear different clothes, shoes, accessories, and hairstyles, which never really upgrades the character in any way. It's just for visual flair. And you can give him or her different styles of Wispons to use. Wispons are basically guns that you can use to destroy robots. robots, and if you find a specific wisp in the level, yup, the wisps are back again, whether you like it or not, you can use different special attacks. Cube turns robots into breakable cubes. Lightning gives you an electric whip and the lightspeed dash. Burst gives you infinite jumps and a flamethrower.
Leave it to me. Is that all you've got?
Void creates black holes and makes you teleport across the level. Asteroid throws debris at robots and makes you temporarily invincible. And Hover sends a short burst of air and makes you glide through the sky. Classic Sonic has strictly 2D levels with platforming and fast-paced excitement. Yeah, the game really thinks this is fast-paced, refusing to gain speed when going downhill. The level's not built with using the spin dash or the drop dash in mind. Oh yeah, and a side-scrolling section. Fast-paced in fucking deed. It looks as though they were recreating classic Sonic's gameplay from Generations, but failed greatly. The biggest problem is that Sonic is as heavy as a stack of bricks. His jumps have too much weight to them, and this usually leads me to overshoot or undershoot a platform, falling to my death. This also applies to jumping on robots, on springs, or grabbing some red rings. This is just... Why? Why couldn't they just perfectly replicate the gameplay from the game they forcefully and fail to blatantly copy? And modern Sonic has the same jump problems as classic Sonic, but made even worse by having a double jump that sometimes gets you onto a platform, but most of the time doesn't. He also has the homing attack, which is fine, the stomp and the slide moves, which I've barely ever used, and finally, the boost gameplay, returning from Unleashed, Colors, and Generations. That kind of gameplay I don't really have a problem with, but the problem is that most of the levels in here are just so painfully linear, empty, and just flooded with dash panels that it's almost like you could beat all of these levels just by holding the boost button. You'll hardly ever run out of boost energy either. You'll be constantly plowing through herds of robots, so the meter is pretty much limitless. There are other notable problems from the gameplay department, like the fact that there are about 25 levels, but all of them can be finished in under 2 minutes. That is way too short. Most Sonic levels these days tend to be around 3 to 5 minutes long in order to engross us in each level. Not 2. The graphics look worse than Generations. It might just be the lighting, it might just be a lack of any detail, but these graphics don't scream PS4 or Xbox One power. This game looks less detailed than the game released in the previous console generation. You collect 5 red rings in each level, but they only unlock new clothes for the avatar, which is just nothing of worth to me. This might be most people's cup of tea, but it isn't for me. Speaking of the clothes, you can't change the color of the shirts, shoes, or gloves. A different colored version of the same exact shoes, for instance, is unlocked later on in the game, and the color you've unlocked might not be the colors you wanted, or they aren't in the game at all. Most of the bosses are okay, but Metal Sonic and the final Infinite fight are exactly the same as each other. The final boss is just an inferior version of the Lost World final boss, which was an inferior version of the Sonic Colors' last boss. The first Infinite fight is just way too easy, and the other one drags on for way too long. The Egg Dragoon fight isn't that interesting, and Zavok's fight has this dickish trick where you have to not jump when he slams onto the floor, abandoning human instincts of jumping to avoid possible shockwaves. The game also provides a collection of optional challenges to unlock more avatar clothes. Challenges like getting an S rank in each level, collecting a certain amount of red rings, doing a specific move or chain attack, or finishing a level in a certain amount of time. Some of these are as hella easy as just doing one spin dash, while others are as hard as giving you very tight time limits. I almost broke my fingers trying to complete those ones specifically. Multiple spin dashes, drop dashes, and boosts, and you can just barely make it. These didn't frustrate me as much as Crash Bandicoot's time relics though. They just softly annoyed me. You can also do daily challenges. If you do the request they ask you, you can get a massive bonus in level ranking systems for half an hour each day. So even getting the S ranks doesn't require much effort, since I can just do this. You see, this is the biggest problem with Sonic Forces. They keep screwing up whatever big grand idea they have for the game. For every step they take 20 steps back. They make a really interesting idea for a story, which puts every character in the most dire of situations, but the characters don't go through any development because of this war. They don't change, and all of the more interesting stuff either happens off screen or it doesn't happen at all. The situation is taken 100% seriously, but it doesn't really feel all that interesting or worrisome when every game and TV show episode at the time gave us this.
No copyright law in the universe is going to stop me!
Is this a towel?
What am I supposed to cover with that? Are you making fun of me?
One word of helpful advice. Diet and exercise.
That's 3 words!
I can taste your terror, child. It's delicious.
So, what's your favorite color? Do you like long, romantic walks on the beach? What's the source of your power? You can skip the first 2 questions if you like.
We've been hoping for a miracle these past 6 months, but I'm afraid we have to make our own miracle.
Okay. Failed battle plans, robot designs. Wow, he's got like 10 terabytes of selfies.
80% of our forces have been wiped out, and we've lost contact with the rest.
Look, I'm perfectly fine. It's been generations since I've seen you. You okay?
It's an interesting idea to have 3 types of gameplay, but modern Sonic's levels are the easiest ones ever made. The Avatars levels can all be breezed through with just the burst wisp on, and classic Sonic's levels are made really annoying by the heavy jumping and the slower speed than Mania's. And we can't even play as any of the other members of the Resistance? It's all hands on deck here. It's the last stand for this world. And yet it doesn't feel as if they've been helping out that much. They just tell us on what they have done to help, never actually showing us. It's nice and all that they had brought back Chaos Zero, but we never battle against him in a boss fight, like Zavok and Metal Sonic. I'm glad that they had tried recreating the Death Egg Zone from Sonic and Knuckles, but they had also brought back Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant again! Stages that were already in Sonic Generations and Sonic Mania. And whatever original levels they had come up with, they are all dark, boring, unappealing, and just flooded with dash panels. I like that they had brought back the use of vocal songs for the Avatar stages, and some of them sound pretty good. But the rest of the music in other levels is either repetitive, forgettable, or... Oh, that's okay. I didn't need my hearing anyway. What the fuck even is this music? What the fuck was wrong with the original Green Hill theme? You know how the music from Sonic 4 sounded like a synthesized cat piano? Well, I never thought I would find music that's worse than even that game's. Why didn't they just reuse the classic theme from Generations? You've already reused everything else from that game, why not go the extra mile? This is just my opinion, but I think Sonic Forces is the 4th worst Sonic game I have ever played, behind Sonic 06, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Sonic Free Riders respectively. Well, I've never played Free Riders, but I can tell it's one of the worst just by looking at it. It had a lot of great potential and ideas behind it. The custom character idea, almost making this like a Generations sequel, a darker and more impactful story. But due to either incompetence, laziness, lack of caring, lack of research, or a lack of time, the whole game feels so boring, bland, empty, and overall pointless. It took them 4 years to put this game together, the longest development time for a mainstream Sonic game at the time, and this is what they gave us? It has now been 5 years since Forces was released, and there has been no announcements for any new Sonic games, and it's very easy to see why. I bet that even when they do eventually announce the next main series game, after over 5 years of development, and maybe even hiring an all-new voice cast, except for Mike Pollock of course, I bet this game will be just as lacking, as bland, and as disappointing as Lost World and Forces. It's an endless loop of torture that will never end and will eventually cancel the game series. Though I'm really surprised the series isn't cancelled already.
Submit. Your reckless actions endanger the world.
Amy, is that you?
You cannot run forever. Leave immediately.
Okay, Modern Sonic, I'll give you one more chance. Just one more. If you want me to give my trust in you again, just don't fuck this up. Do you understand?
Hey Marie, over here!
Callie, what are you doing in a go-kart? Do you even know how to drive?
Well, that's not a problem. You see that antenna? That is a smart steering. It prevents this car from crashing into any walls or obstacles.
Right. And what's that button for?
A little something I added in myself. It grants me an infinite amount of golden mushroom boost power. I could go faster than the speed of sound if I want to.
All of your stupid ideas. Why would you ever want to go at the speed of sound in a go-kart?
You never know when races will be held here in Nicopolis. Let's have a test run. Three, 2, 1. I regret everything! Hooray! I can't stop this thing! Ow!
Just turn the engine off!
Oh no! Anti-gravity!
to COD, she can slow herself down as we look at Mario Kart 8. Deluxe.
I guess I forgot to switch on smart steering after all.
Racing games are usually easier, and 2, I had mastered half of the Mario Kart games. Well, I kinda tell a lie. I've only mastered 3 of them. I didn't have enough time to go further than about 4 cups into Super Mario Kart because my free trial had a limited amount of time. So I've only ever beaten Mario Kart DS, Wii, and 8. The reason I kept showing off this box is because the bundle didn't come with a physical game. It was software built into the Wii U. But now I can use this box as visual representation instead. Hurrah! So you're probably wondering, since this is the highest selling Switch game ever made so far, you're a big fan of Mario Kart, your earliest videos are of you praising this game, and there was clearly a ton of effort put into it, is Mario Kart 8 my favorite Mario Kart game? Well, not quite. I think I could hear a gasp there. Yeah, for as great as this game is, it's not my favorite in this series. It's my second favorite. Well then, your favorite is clearly Mario Kart DS, right? It's literally everyone else's favorite. Well, no. My favorite is Mario Kart Wii. Okay, I definitely heard a gasp that time. I could hear it in the next country. Why would I have such a heart-crushing, blasphemous, controversial opinion as that? I'll explain later. Let's just focus on 8. Let's start things off with the character roster. It's alright. You've got the usuals. The Mario Bros, the Wario Bros, the princesses, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Rosalina. But then you've got babies Peach and Daisy. Okay, toddler versions of the ladies up there. That interested me when I was playing Wii. But then dry Bowser? You mean Bowser with his skin melted off? Metal Mario? I thought he was a power-up. Why is he a separate entity? And Tanuki Mario and Cat Peach even more so. Lakitu? I thought he was the official. All 7 Koopalings? Plus Bowser Jr. later? That's a bit overkill. Baby Rosalina? Okay, well that completely retcons her backstory. And Pink Gold Peach? A character that never existed until this game. Is she what happens when Peach wears the metal cap? Is she a robot Peach android? Is there any reason why she should exist? This overall roster is okay at most, but that's all we get here. What about Birdo? Hammer Bros, Pauline, PT Piranha, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Dixie Kong, and not to mention, in the Deluxe edition, you don't unlock any characters. Yeah, you heard me right, none of these guys are unlockable. They are available right from the get-go. The only things you can unlock in this edition are Gold Mario, which is just a Metal Mario skin, carts, wheels, and gliders. Why take away a satisfying reward system that was already in the original version? I'm one of those people who is more interested in unlocking characters than cards. So to see that it's not really a thing you can do in here, it's just disappointing. And about the carts, they had brought over an element from Mario Kart 7 where you can customize the cart and bikes to your liking, giving them different wheels and gliders. I'm not a fan of this. I'm not an imaginative, custom kind of guy. I would rather just pick a cart or a bike and just go, like in Double Dash, DS, and Wii. I see no reason to give my cart monster truck wheels, or to add a flower glider to my bike, especially since the customizations hardly ever upgrade your carts in any way. They don't make them faster, lighter, heavier, run better off-road, have better drifting or handling or anything. I'm sure everyone will disagree, but I personally wouldn't like this element to return. Just give me a pre-built Blue Falcon and I'm all good. Now, onto the track selections. The new ones are dead interesting and really unique. The settings can range from some ruined temples up in the cloud, a haunted house, an airport, a friggin' nightclub, up and down a waterfall, an underwater amusement park, a giant mountain with moguls and ski jumps on it, and what Sweet Mountain and Sugar Rush's baby would look like. Most of them also make brilliant use of the additional kart features, like driving underwater with dolphin shoals starting in the water. How are they all able to breathe? Gliding, like in Sunshine Airport, where you are gliding for a long distance while real jumbo jets are taking off above you. And the newest mechanic and selling points for the game, anti-gravity. This will let you drive on walls, drive up walls, drive upside down, and etc. Like in the new Mario circuit. It may look like a simple H-shaped loop, but it's twisted in such a way that you will be driving upside down and underneath the track. But the camera doesn't change when you drive on any walls, which is actually great for those who get confused with anti-gravity perspectives. Like me. And there are even a few stages like Thwomp Ruins that take advantage on diving, gliding, and anti-gravity all at once. You can go a different path in each lap if you want to. Personally, my favorite new tracks are Sunshine Airport for the sheer spectacle, Electrodrome for the bright lights, cool theme and the techno music, Bowser's Castle for how much debris, fire and heavy metal is thrown at you at once, and Mount Wario, just because all three laps have you going from the top to the bottom of a mountain, going through caves, a dam, a forest and a winter sports course to get there. And my least favorite course would be... Bone Dry Dunes. It's not really that pleasing visually. There's an upper path that's hard to reach, and it's just a coastal area but with sand replacing the water. Right. Onto the retro tracks. This is possibly the best retro course selection out of any Mario Kart game. Even before the recent DLC, they chose the most memorable, most fun, and most iconic levels from the previous games. Toad's Turnpike as the first busy traffic stage, Yoshi Valley with its multiple pathways, Dry Desert, which isn't really that dry anymore if you've put an oasis into it. Tick-Tock Clock as a reimagining of a level from Mario 64, Moo Moo Meadows with all the cows to avoid, Grumble Volcano that changes its layout by the third lap, and the sheer creativity of Severed Music Park. No, wait, Melody Motorway. Not only did they keep the maps mostly the same from the originals, but they added in diving, gliding, and anti-gravity mechanics from the new stages. GBA Mario Circuit has half of the stage lifted up into the air with giant underground jacks. Cheep Cheep Beach lets you drive through the lush aqua blue ocean to grab more coins. Toad's Turnpike lets you drive over the busy traffic, and there are now 2 different routes to take at the start and the end of Sherbert Land. Oh, the GameCube one, not the other one. These changes and updated layouts really give the old courses new life. My favorite retro tracks would have to be Toad's Turnpike, Tick-Tock Clock, Grumble Volcano, and Music Park. And my least favorite is... Donut Plains 3. And finally, there are some additional tracks that were paid DLC in the original Wii U game, but were bundled in for free in this deluxe version. This is a collection of new tracks, retro tracks, and even some tracks that cross over with other series, including Animal Crossing, Legend of Zelda, Excitebike, Splatoon in the deluxe version specifically, and even F-Zero. You got the kart, you got the stages, you got the speed, you got a Falcon costume for the Miis, you have the means to make a new F-Zero game, so why do you keep refusing to? Anyway, this is a really great collection here. The original tracks are really creative. A subway, an Arctic research base, going up and down a giant tree, and a Chinese setting with Gobblegut as the main attraction. I didn't think Nintendo would ever reference Galaxy 2 again after trying to erase it from existence. The crossover tracks are really good courses. They stay faithful to the source materials, they change the coins to either rupees or bells, some of the victory themes change, and some stages change its layout every time you boot them up. Like Excitebike Arena has different ramp placements, and Animal Crossing has different seasonal cosmetics. That's some nice detail. And the retro tracks have broken the trend, at the time, by only bringing back courses that they hadn't already remade in other games. And thus, the already great selection we got is even greater with even more fan favorites. Yoshi's Circuit with its fun, unique course design, Baby Park with its 7 laps and insane music, Cheeseland with its strangely appealing aesthetic, Wario's Gold Mine with its many twists and turns, Super Nintendo Rainbow Road with its challenging layout, Neo Bowser City with its sharp turns, and Ribbon Road for having the biggest changes compared to the original. This is all amazing stuff. I like it. Now let's talk about the items. You got your usual ones, bananas and green shells that are terrible for hitting others but are great for defense, red shells that are great for offense and defense, mushrooms for speed boosts, the superstar for invincibility, blue shells to punch the winning player in the balls, literally, but bombs where you can never aim them to where you want them to, golden mushrooms that will only be effective if you're on a straight path, bullet bills that I have never ever used, even in the lowest positions, bloopers that do less screen damage than in the Wii game, and the lightning, the most hated item in the game. Blue shells? Move aside. You are nothing compared to this shit. It shrinks you down, it fucks up the beautiful music, you get flattened by players once they have grown back, it takes away all your items, it's unpredictable, it strikes when you least expect it, and I swear, I get struck by lightning more times here than I got hit by blue shells in the Wii game. I'm not the only one who hates this item, right? We've also got some new items as well. The Fire Flower that can make you shoot multiple fireballs. They go all over the place and they never hit anyone. And even you can get hit by your own fireballs. Miss. The Boomerang Flower, where you can throw a single boomerang at opponents 3 times. Since the players move so fast, it's hard to hit anyone with it, and you get less use out of it than even the Fire Flower. So, miss. The Piranha Plant that can chomp opponents, making them spin out, and it can even give you a tiny boost with each chomp. Now this is more like it. Loads of accuracy, and it's very dangerous. Hit. The super horn that can produce a shockwave so strong that it can destroy shells. Green, red, even blue shells. The most useful item in this game, bar none. This item will make the Mario Kart Wii haters shut up, except it's a very rare item to get in first place, so you're going to get screwed anyway. But hit. And finally, the Crazy 8 that automatically gives you 8 items at once for you to immediately spam. Hit. On to the modes next. A huge improvement in the Deluxe version is that they put in an actual battle mode with actual battle courses. I never play battle mode in Mario Kart games. I think they're much better to play with friends, and I don't have any friends, so I'm not going to address them. But I will say that this is miles better than whatever the flying fuck the Wii U game gave us.
Nintendo, what is wrong with you?
Next, there's Grand Prix mode. We're all familiar with this one. You race in a selection of 4 racetracks to try and win a trophy at the end. And there are 5 different speed settings that you can choose from, which are basically difficulty settings. There's 50cc, which is the slowest speed. This is the class you would pick if you really need to relax, take it slow, and refresh your mind after a stressful day. The CPUs are hopeless. You can win first place very easily, hardly anything can stop you, and you can just take a nice casual stroll.
We're all going on a summer holiday. No more working for a week or two.
100cc is my preferred lowest setting if I want to take it slow. You go a little bit faster and the CPUs are a little bit smarter, throwing a lot more items at you. 150cc. You're in the major leagues now. Thrice the starting speed, loads of items and tight corners, shortcuts and drifting are a must, and you need to know the course layout inside and out, which thankfully isn't too difficult. Mirror mode? Everything is flipped around and the CPUs are a bit more aggressive. That's it. But then, the final option, 200cc. This one is absolutely brutal. Your kart speed is the fastest they have ever been. Every turn on the courses are harder to drift through. You need to tap the brake button when necessary. There are some shortcuts and trick ramps that you aren't allowed to use, and the CPUs will be out for your blood. They will throw everything in the universe at you to make sure that you will never come out on top. Really intense shit. But it's very clear that most of these tracks were never built with 200cc in mind, especially those with sharp turns. Wario Stadium, Yoshi Circuit, Dragon Driftway, Neo Bowser City, and Rainbow fucking Road. This is when you conclude that 200cc was an afterthought. No, wait, it was. The curves at the beginning and the ending of Rainbow Road are so tight that it is impossible to make it to first place without falling off the edge once. I tried everything I knew and nothing worked. It never works when I use a cart, not when I use a bike, not when I go very slowly, not when I go as fast as possible, not when I try constantly drifting, not when I'm repeatedly like tapping the A button. I can't fucking do it! I replayed the entire Special Cup 50,000 times because this stage is completely impossible in this class. It was only by pure luck that I was able to get 3 stars in the end. I was struck by lightning at the end of the 3rd lap, and then I instantly ran into an item box giving me 2 mushrooms in my item disposal. Complete unintentional, random, pure, undeniable luck. Anyway, there are versus races where you can make your own custom Grand Prix. Choose the type of speed class, what type of items to use or exclude, use only bikes, use only carts, and you can choose to have 4 races, or 6, 8, 16, even all 48 if you have the time. There's an online mode which, from what I had played from the Wii U version, says the online on the console was free. It was a really fun time. I didn't care if I ever lost, it was all charming stuff. And finally, the time trials. Next to perfecting 200cc, this was the thing I had spent the most time on in this game. Can you tell? Some of them are piss easy and require no effort at all, but then there are some that will take everything out of you, perfect the stages, use shortcuts you never knew existed, and will definitely master your driving skills. And now on to some other points or complaints that I want to bring up about this game. The graphics in this game are magnifique. The amount of detail on stuff like the roads, the grass, the walls, boulders, clouds, water, trees, snow, and etc. Just look at these thwomps, they look so real. And there are millions of Easter eggs and details in the background of every stage. All of these advertisements, Bowser Oil, Fuzzy Battery, Lemmy's Tire Service, Royal Pasteurized... can't pronounce that. Burning DK Sports Drink, Galaxy Air, Propeller Tow Transport, Mushroom Piston, Dream Gliders, and Wario Billionaire. Cliffs shaped like dolphins, an audience of gingerbread toads in sweet boxes, Waluigi seabed roller coaster, and a hotel for your weekly stay. A Peach version of the Statue of Liberty, the giant beanstalk you race on had emerged from a question block, just like in the platformers, dry bones watching from the sidelines, space shuttles shaped like bloopers, and a satellite that looks similar to the Comet Observatory. All of these little details make these places feel more alive, like they are places creatures could really live in. It's nice. These are easily the best graphics in any Mario Kart game, or even any Wii U game. My baby Moo Moo Meadows looks so damn beautiful in this game. I nearly teared up when I first saw her years ago. The music in this game is... one of the best game soundtracks I've ever heard. When it comes to video game music, there are 2 franchises that I think are my absolute favorites. The Sonic series and the Mario Kart games. But 8's music is especially amazing because they had used a real orchestra to provide it and bring it to life. All of them use a huge variety of instruments. Trumpets, steel drums, violins, theremins, banjos, jazzy saxophones, guitars. I can't choose a favorite track in this game. They are so well produced, well constructed, and above all, so catchy. They even remixed all of the retro course music, which is a first for the series. It's not like in 7, where they just reused the exact same music from the originals and maybe remastered them a little bit. They went all out and gave all of them the same high quality treatment as the other music tracks. And some tracks I honestly prefer over the originals. A huge example of this is TikTok Clock's music. Here's the original. I know this was for the limited DS, but this just sounds awful, I'm sorry. And now, here's the remix. Do I need to say anything? And I get chills every time I hear the course intro theme and they showcase the beautiful, exciting race to come. A new Mario Kart game is such a grand event, so let's make it feel as big as the Olympics. Some additions added to the deluxe version of the game, when comparing it to the original, is the inclusion of purple sparks when you drift. Like, first the blue sparks will normally appear when you drift, hold it on for a bit longer and they will turn orange, but then when you hold it on even longer than that, they will turn purple, giving you a triple drift boost. That is how you drift. Not like any of that complicated Crash Team Racing shit where you have to do 1,000 things at the same time just to do just one. Just hold ZR and move the left thumbstick. That's what we like. But you're only going to use purple sparks on certain stages with long curves, like 64 Rainbow Road, but this is still a cool addition. There is an option to apply smart steering and or auto accelerate, which will automatically stop you from falling off edges and will drive the kart respectfully. So, if you don't feel like actually playing the game, then this is the option for you. Yeah, this is basically the automatic drifting of Mario Kart 8. It's for casual players who don't know how to use a controller. I think one of the better additions to 8 Deluxe is the double item box, returning from Double Dash. They can give you 2 items at once, or you can get a single box, hold onto that green shell, and there's an available spot open for the next box on the track. This is a bigger deal than you may think. In the original version of 8, there's always a sense of worry every time you grab an item box, because that item might end up being coins. So you won't have anything to defend yourself or attack anyone with until the next item box, making you a sitting duck, and then boom! But with 2 item slots, you can still get coins all the time, but at least you can actually defend yourself for the entire race. But why isn't there an option to switch the items you have? Like, I don't want to use up these coins now, I just want to use the banana and use the coins later. Switch? Banana? Satisfied. In fact, why the fuck are coins an item in the first place? I mean, I know having 10 coins makes you faster, somehow, But when there is already plenty of coins scattered across the tracks, and 10 is the maximum amount you can grab in each race, isn't it pointless to have your item slot wasted with more coins? Dear Nintendo, in the next Mario Kart, don't make coins an item! Please, for the love of God! Thank you and keep up the good work. Anonymous. So, that's everything I can say about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. But now, here's the big question. Which game do I personally think is the better game? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or Mario Kart Wii? The answer is... Wii. Now I can already hear you clicking your guns, but please hear me out on this. In order to solidify that opinion, I hooked up my Wii U to play a Wii game. I know the majority of you watching is going to 100% disagree with me, because Mario Kart Wii is way too hard. I can't make it through mirror mode. You get hit by items every 2 seconds, and the battle mode just sucks. Now, you are right. To an extent. Yes, this is the hardest game in the series. Yes, most of the stages are really challenging. Yes, you get hit by shells and spinies more times than you can count. Yes, unlocking everything can be very difficult. And yes, there were a lot of times where I myself was literally screaming my head off and throwing my Wiimote on the floor whenever I came in second place, or I got a lettered ranking. But on the other hand, that is the reason I find Mario Kart Wii to be the slightly better game. The difficulty. I easily breezed through 8 150cc, so easily in fact that I was focusing more on humming the stage's music than trying to win. But Wii's 150cc is harder than 8's 200cc. Hell, I think even 100cc is harder than that. The game doesn't hold your hand the entire way. It doesn't make everything absolutely piss easy for newcomers, like 8 does. It throws you into the hardest stages in the series and expects you to master them. It throws every item imaginable at you or on the track to make you pay more attention to your surroundings. You don't unlock characters, cars or bikes just by getting 60 points, like in 8. The star rankings are based on how skilled you are at the game. It doesn't matter if you get 60 points in the end, you might end up with 2 stars instead of 3. If you really want Rosalina, or the Blue Falcon, or the Mii's, you have to earn it. Show them your true skills. But unlike Crash Team Racing, where you have to do all of that and remember a complicated drifting system and shortcuts that are much harder to pull off, you still have the easy drifting mechanic from 8 and the shortcuts are fairly noticeable. While CTR is impossible, Mario Kart Wii is accomplishable. Also, in my opinion, Wii does a few things better than 8. You start the game by creating a driver's license, accompanied by the charming music with the random sound effects. It has a bit more of that sigh-worthy charm that the Wii era was known for. Coins are non-existent in Wii, on the track or as items. So, when I pick up a shell or a banana, I can leave it hanging on my rear bumper and get another useful item instantly. Or I can do something really cheeky that I couldn't do in 8. Drop bananas or throw shells behind me, catching the opponents off guard without worrying that I will waste it on a useless item. Except for maybe the fake item box, but you can still fool them. The ending results screen after every race shows the recorded times as well as the positions, so you can see how far ahead or dangerously close you were to the opponents. There is an actual award ceremony after every Grand Prix, with all the opponents celebrating your victory, instead of just replaying a highlight reel and just showing you a trophy out of nowhere. Plus, it has a better end credit scene, where all the other racers drive past you, thinking that they are faster and better than you, but you make them eat their words by drifting past all 11 of them with your own skill. Tougher and smarter. After you fall off the track, you can press the accelerate button as soon as you land to get an instant boost of speed. Where the fuck was that in 8? And need I even mention the better character roster? Dry Bones, Dry Bowser, King Boo, and Bowser Jr. from the start, Toadette, Rosalina, Mies, Birdo, Diddy Kong, Funky Kong. Was sure babies Peach and Daisy are still there, but at the time, I thought it was a nice bit of character exploration, seeing younger versions of these beloved characters. Plus, babies Mario and Luigi were established in partners in time, so there you go. But now, getting back to Mario Kart 8, let's talk about something you were all hoping I would talk about, I'm sure. The Booster Course Pass. It was better than I thought it was going to be, but I'm still disappointed in a few areas. Ever since this DLC was announced in that February Direct, I was absolutely confused. I mean, Breath of the Wild was released in 2017. That game is getting a sequel 5 years later. No wait, make that 6. Splatoon 2 was released the same year, and that series is getting another sequel, again 5 years later. But Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the highest selling Switch game ever, doesn't lead way to a new original entry. Just DLC. This just boggles my mind. It's been 5 years. That is the exact amount of time for the production crew to brainstorm, create, and finish a game these days. They had all the time in the world to do so. But instead, they just rip a bunch of stages straight out of Mario Kart Tour, a game nobody likes, and just throw them into the Switch game as paid downloadable content. Nintendo never makes DLC for games over 5 years old. They normally do it a few months after release. The only exception to this is ports, like, I don't know, Pikmin 3 Deluxe or something. And keep in mind, this isn't even a new Mario Kart game. It is a port of a Wii U game from 3 years before with a few adjustments, battle stages, additional characters, and the original DLC tracks bundled in for free. I think the reason for this decision is that they don't want this new Mario Kart entry to beat the sales of the highest selling Switch game ever. But people wouldn't even care. This is Mario Kart, a series that anybody can play, anybody can enjoy, and can be universally praised, even when there are a few problems. Most of the time. But I decided to follow these new content updates anyway, in spite of my disappointment and confusion. And I actually think the new courses are really good. At the time of this audio recording, only the first wave of DLC has been released, and the track selection is not that bad at all. I actually think that it's a great idea to port the original tour tracks into the Switch game. That means everyone can play these widely accepted courses anytime, anywhere, instead of waiting for a fortnight or even a few months to play the one that you want. And the tour tracks themselves genuinely surprised me. During Paris Promenade, I was like, yeah, this isn't too bad. At the second lap, I was beginning to drift off a little. But then, on the third lap, my eyes shot wide open. The track layout changed. You play the rest of the stage of the race in reverse. That was an exciting twist I wasn't expecting at all. I thought they were just going to do the bare minimum with these tracks, just 3 laps on the same route and nothing more. Especially since that was exactly what they did in the first 2 laps. But after going backwards in lap 3, I wondered if the other tour tracks will do the same changes. And they did. Tokyo Blur changed the route in all 3 laps, not just 2, driving past thwomps and a finishing gliding move, and Ninja Hideaway is hella interesting. Not only was the theme enjoyable, a Japanese temple with ninja shy guys, bamboo wind currents, and shuriken star crushing ceilings, but you can actually race through the whole course on a lower level or on an upper level, a 2-way optional route. This is just incredible. I never thought in my life that I would get genuine enjoyment from Mario Kart tour tracks, but when you put these stages in an actual Mario Kart game with real controls, 3 laps per race, and no limited uses or microtransactions, they are unexpected gems. It wasn't really a good idea to put Toad Circuit as the second racetrack, cause it's pretty basic and generic. Choco Mountain was quite a bit of fun with the new design layout, like a crystal mine and gliding over a broken bridge. Shroom Ridge is interesting. It's like a more challenging version of Toad's Turnpike, already in the base game, but now there are much sharper turns to do. Sky Garden is alright. Not terrible, but not amazing either. And then... My dear daughter. Not to say that this remake isn't good. I mean, there's still the changing directions that can throw some newcomers off. They're still having the gliding edition from the 7 version. It has a nice Super Mario Bros. Mosaic on the walls. The shortcut through one of the shops is still there. And I like that the reason it's an off-road one is because it's a wooden floor and it has just been varnished. That's a nice touch. But the saturation in the whole stage is way too bright. There are less customers in the background. These things here used to be escalators, as if this was... a mall or something. So what the fuck happened? There is no "have a nice day" message when you exit the premises, and most people had been complaining that there are now shy guys driving the cars instead of me's. Well, I'm more disappointed on the fact that the cars don't move an inch. Come on, where's the challenge? And I bet you they're going to do the same questionable downgrades to the other Wii tracks they'll put in. Like, I bet they'll remove the spinning electric rods in Cooper Cape. Remove the gliding mushroom from Mushroom Gorge. Remove the moguls or the half-piping shy guys in DK Summit. Or they'll refuse to make the Wigglers move in Maple Treeway and stuff. Look, I can't help being so picky on what they did to a Wii stage. It's just nostalgia infecting my mind. But even if it wasn't, it's a fan favorite track, loved by literally everyone. So it's majorly disappointing to see that they didn't make the cars move. while we're on the subject of complaining about the visuals, the graphics in these stages have been majorly downgraded. Now I know, they have all been taken from a mobile game, which had to cut back on the graphics for storage and performance reasons. But this is all being ported into Mario Kart 8, a game with the best and most detailed graphics in the series. So it's really jarring to see the rich detail on the beanstalks in Cloudtop Cruise to the ones in Sky Garden, as an example, Yoshi Valley's cliffs to Shroom Ridges, Moo Moo Meadows' grass to Toad Circuits. It doesn't feel as if we're playing the same game. Not to mention, the stages have been gigantified to fit in with 8 layouts and structures, so that means the Yoshis, Toads, and objects in the background look bigger than they should be. I mean, the cars you are dodging in Coconut Mall look larger than the ones in the car park. And what's most disappointing, that I actually didn't notice at first, is that none of these 8 stages use anti-gravity areas. Yeah, the big gimmick and selling point of Mario Kart 8 isn't in the DLC for the Deluxe edition, when I think that it could have been, like maybe in the boulder section of Choco Mountain, or certain hard turns in Sky Garden. Now, I know, Mario Kart Tour doesn't have anti-gravity, but if they can add in background vehicles and objects from 8 into these stages, then why don't they just change some sections to certain angles? Oh no wait, that would actually require effort. The only original aspect in this whole DLC is the music. Yeah, they're not doing what Tour is doing by just reusing some older renditions of these songs. They actually got the amazing Mario Kart band back together, and they are gonna be remixing all 48 tracks in their own style. So, the Booster Course Pass DLC is pretty good actually. Yeah, the graphics are a downgrade, there is no anti-gravity anywhere, and some stages are pretty disappointing, but the music is still amazing remixed bops, some stages are still fun to drive through, and the tour stages are really interesting and have a lot of unexpected surprises. I'm actually excited as to what they're gonna do with the other courses in this game. Speaking of, I suppose you are wondering what I think which stages will be ported later down the road. Well, I have thought about it, under the mindset that the majority of stages they're going to put in will be from Mario Kart 7 and Mario Kart Tour, and I have also taken certain data mines, leaks, and rumors into account. Now, I'm not going to say that these placements and choices in the data mines are fact. I'm just using them as a foundation to make it easier to decide which ones to choose. So, Turnip Cup, Sydney Sprint, Super Nintendo Mario Circuit, Calamari Desert, and DK Pass. Propeller Cup, Los Angeles Labs, Sunset Wild, Koopa Cape, and either Woohoo Loop or Marco Woohoo. Rock Cup, New York Minute, Waluigi Pinball, GBA Bowser's Castle, and Wario Shipyard. Moon Cup, Merry Mountain, Dino Dino Jungle, N64 Bowser's Castle, and of course they're gonna put this one in. It's like literally everyone's favorite Rainbow Road, and it was used in Tour. Why wouldn't they put this one in? Fruit Cup, London Loop, Mushroom Gorge, Luigi's Mansion, and Vanilla Lake. Boomerang Cup, Singapore Speedway, Mushroom Bridge, Cheap Cheap Island, and Berlin Byways. Feather Cup, a new tour stage, Maple Treeway, Yoshi Desert, and another new tour stage. Cherry Cup, a new tour stage, Daisy Cruiser, Ghost Valley, and Airship Fortress. Acorn Cup, Vancouver Velocity, DK Summit, Shy Guy Bazaar, and N64 Cooper Beach. And the Shiny Cup, one more new tour stage, Waluigi Stadium, Frappe Snowland, and Wii Rainbow Road. So, that's the entirety of Mario Kart 8 so far. The game Nintendo never wants to let go of and just pass away peacefully. It's got a few nitpicks here or there. But overall, it's a really damn good time. Half of the game has uniquely designed nitro courses, the best selection of retro courses, and a much improved battle mode, a fun online system, an amazing soundtrack, useful items, items that can jump off a cliff, and a decent character selection. And then the other half is a half disappointing, half exciting hybrid of fun retro courses, interesting tour courses, and fun music remixes, with shabby graphics, oversized background elements, and a downgraded Coconut Mall. I just hope that the next Nintendo console will have an actual original brand new Mario Kart game next time, and not just bundle everything from 8 again.
Alright, the final game we'll be looking at this year will be Paper Mario The Origami King.
Oh, cool! Hey, I can do origami. Watch! Ta-da! No, wait! I can do it! See? It's a star ball!
Yeah, let me show you how it's done. Of watching tutorial videos online. Here's a playlist. Knock yourself out. And let us get back to Paper Mario.
Yep, I'm going there. I'm now going to be voicing my opinions on one of the biggest Nintendo controversies. The new Paper Mario games. The games were great RPG games that gave the Mario franchise much more lore and complex characters, and then Nintendo intentionally decided to throw all of that into the furnace ever since Sticker Star on the 3DS. And I'm just gonna say it, I am not a die-hard classic fan. I have never played the N64 game, Thousand Year Door on the GameCube, or Super Paper Mario on the Wii. Hell, I might be one of the outcasts who might have liked Color Splash on the Wii U. But I don't think I would have enjoyed Sticker Star. Now then, let me talk about the game that has the fans split down the middle, the Origami King. Mario and Luigi have been invited to Toad Town to attend this origami festival, but when they arrive, the place is all bare, silent, and empty. They head over to see Princess Peach in her castle, but when she appears, she has been brainwashed. No, worse than that, forcefully transformed. She throws Mario in the castle dungeons, where he finds a little origami being known as Princess Olivia. She explains that her brother, Ollie, wishes to turn the entire paper population, including toads, animals, and even Bowser's minions, into folded soldiers, and rule over a new origami empire. After finding out Mario and Olivia have escaped, Ollie wraps up the whole castle with streamers, lifting the whole thing out from the ground and on top of a mountain, keeping Princess Peach hostage. The streamers are being used as a barrier so strong that no one can get in. Olivia soon has the idea that if they destroy the streamers by defeating bosses, of course, they will have the chance to get inside the castle, stop Ollie's intentions, and save Peach's life. So, the two allies venture all across the crafted world. Not that one, a different one, to find all 5 streamers and find ways to destroy them, maybe even helping some civilians along the way. Okay, this might piss off everyone watching this, but I really like this game. Wait, that isn't an unpopular opinion? Most of the music was really good, from Japanese music, to desert music, to using a lot of the electric guitar. The graphics are really nice. The environments truly look and feel as if they are all made out of paper, card, and cardboard. It won't be long before someone starts crafting everything from the game themselves. I know Nintendo was forcing the developers up at gunpoint to not add any differing traits or features to any Mario characters or enemies anymore, which of course is complete bullshit coming from them. But a majority of the characters are pretty charming in this game. Olivia especially. She is just an adorable little flower who manages to add levity when it calls for it. You really do feel sorry for her in certain parts of the story, and I like how some characters can help you on your journey, from the professor digging up coins and collectibles in the desert to the sea captain adventuring across the Great Sea. The battle system in this game is hit or miss for me. What happens is, you need to turn these giant rings to make the folded soldiers line up with each other. This gives you an increase in hit percentage when you then stomp on them with boots or smash them with a hammer. The enemies get stronger the more you progress through the game, meaning that you will need to find stronger boots and hammers, or ones that'll protect your feet from spikes and fire. Lining up the soldiers is sometimes easy, but then other times, I have absolutely no idea where to put them. So, more times than not, in the second half of the game, I have no choice but to take hits from enemies and attack them again afterwards for being such an idiot. Or I can just use up hundreds of coins on the Toad assistance move. Even though I hate having to use my brain to just stomp on enemies, I would gladly take this battle system over the card system in Color Splash. Even though this game is an RPG, which I'm not really a fan of, the journey to find all colored streamers wasn't boring because 1. There is a different companion and even some different gameplay styles in every world you visit. They feel like chapters in a storybook, in a way. And 2. There are loads of treasures to collect all throughout these areas, from coins to toads, from collectible trophies to hidden blocks. I hated them in the 2D platforming games, I hated them in Mario Maker, and I had a hard time finding them here. As soon as I was given the hidden block sensor, it felt like Christmas came early. But there is one thing from this game that just infuriated me. Not the hidden collectibles, not the time-consuming gameplay, not even the fact that nearly all of the NPCs were toads. It was the boss fights. Holy fucking Chris Packet, I absolutely hated these bosses the first time I played them. It's mainly due to the fact that all of them are fought using the ring battle system, but there are also some certain things you need to do to take a good chunk of their health off, but they normally tell you what you need to do after you have secured the rings, so sorry, there goes half of your health. Take the Fire Elemental boss, for instance. As soon as you see the magic circles at the start, your immediate instinct is to spray him down with the Water Elemental. But if you do, he will just respawn all of his health by summoning back his fire quills he had shot earlier. What you are supposed to do is to shave off most of its health with the iron boots, and then spray him with water. Who in their right mind would think of doing that? Anyone who has been alive would think fire plus water equals How is anyone supposed to know beforehand that he was going to regenerate all of his health? And even then, some people would spend a long time wasting their HP, weapons and items trying to work out what you're supposed to do. And there was something else in this game that wasn't really infuriating, more suspenseful, in both a good and a bad way. Shy Guys finished last, an actual game show that you have to play to continue the story. You have to play 4 different minigames in 3 difficulties, easy, medium and hard. To just get to the springs and continue the story, you need to win 100 points. But to get this godforsaken trophy, you need to win all 12 randomly selected difficulty-changing games. Now, Ring Scramble and Race in Place are mega easy, even at level 3. The latter especially, since I can just use this nifty little camera button, which I didn't even know existed. Ninja Skills is the runner-up for the hardest game. In level 1, just focus on the 1 ninja. In level 2, keep track of 2 ninjas. And in level 3, don't focus on the 4 ninjas, focus instead on the 2 remaining enemies. And the way I did this game was to stand up really close to the TV screen, kept my fingers on the ninjas or the others in level 3, and moving my arms at the same rate as them. But even then, they move rather quickly, so it's hard to keep up. But the hardest minigame in this collection is Bath Math. Bath Math. Americans. You have to watch a crowd of Goombas as they enter and exit a pool, and you have to correctly guess how many of them are in the pool by the end. With a maths equation. Why is it so hard? Well, firstly, putting in the equation in under 50 seconds with the ring system. And second, it's really hard to keep track of the Goombas. I could try taking a screenshot with the camera button, but the screen would cut to black before I could take it. And for level 3, when the steam rises and blocks your view of the pool, my strategy was to use a calculator. I look at the amount of Goombas before the steam rises. 3 Goombas. 2 enter the pool. I quickly go to the home screen, +2. Go back into the game, 1 gets out, pause, -1. Resume. 3 more enter, +3. 2 more exit, -2. And I keep on going until the end. And if you are trying to get that perfect game trophy, if you fail at a single minigame, you have to close the entire game, open it up again, go back to the save state you had entered before going to the game show, and you have to sit through all of the host's dialogue bubbles all over again before having another go. God, just get on with it! And as for the sudden death minigame, I, once again, used a guide. And I'm not ashamed this time. I have worked my fingers off every 30 minutes trying to make it this far. I think I deserve to make it easy for myself. The game show is a really good idea, but the level 3 minigames can be painful for my sanity, my patience, and my eyes. But everything before that part of the game was a really enjoyable journey. The great detailed graphics, the charming characters, the nice sense of humor, the improved battle system compared to the last game, the uniqueness of each world through settings and game mechanics, and the intriguing and, at times, emotional story. If you were too late to play the Paper Mario games everyone says are the only good ones, I think the Origami King is a good place to start for this series. A better start than Sticker Star, I can tell you that for free.
Well, that about wraps things up for this year.
Sure enough positive feedback, and we'll have more reviews for next year.
But until then, as always,
stay fresh!
Whew, another year, another strange series of events.
Yeah, I wonder why this keeps happening to us. Maybe the sponsorship is cursed.
Cursed?
Yep, cursed.
Look, buddy, this guy has already reviewed Luigi's Mansion, so what are you doing here? Hey! Let go of me! You'll be hearing Grandpa about this!
I'm glad it's not me this time.
After eventually managing to escape the grasp of those peculiar ghosts, Callie and Marie return to their own neighborhood. There, they continue to go on all sorts of misadventures with their comrades. Claude, Ralph Skipper, Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, and not forgetting Callie's Yoshi pet, Egbert. The Squid sisters had been contracted to host at least one more of these Switch review videos. It is slated to be released in 2023. After receiving a cease and desist from Apple for ripping off their successful line of rose gold iPhones, Pink Gold Peach decided to retire from kart racing altogether. She agreed to make amends with the company by being the new official mascot for the rose gold phones. However, with her manager having the opinion of her being the worst Mario character in existence, she hasn't received a paycheck for 5 months. Callie's Blastoise decided to part his own separate ways from his owner, realizing that he is too dangerous within the presence of Inklings. Callie was deeply saddened by his departure, but Marie and Claude assured her that it was for the best. The Blastoise has recently been spotted in the Galar region and has been fighting many Charizards, Ho-Ohs, and Scorbunnies in the area. He is currently training himself to be the strongest water type in the region. After the disappointing failure and negative backlash from Sonic Forces, the entire Mobian cast came to the conclusion that television media is the best direction for the Sonic series. To make sure that it would be just as beloved as the Sonic Boom Show, Miles Prower decided to hire Coco Jessica Bandicoot as his acting coach. Their knowledge on engineering and electronics bear many similarities. Today, the new TV series Sonic Rift is tied with The Cuphead Show as the highest viewed animated show on Netflix. After the loss of Olivia and her reformed brother Ollie, Mario and Princess Peach had agreed to have a whole day dedicated to the life and bravery of her and her fallen companion, Bobby the Bomb-Omb. Everyone in Toad Town linked hands around a commemorative statue in the square, singing a ballad honoring the sacrifice the little fellow had made. Uka Uka managed to reunite with Dr. Neo Cortex at the end of the universe. After gaining enough strength to travel through time, the two evil beings had managed to revert the current Crash Bandicoot timeline back to the way it was in 2008, with controversial redesigns, the ability to jack monsters, and Crash feeling dizzy after spinning. As of this day, sales for these new mutant games fell rock bottom, and there are currently no signs of a Crash Bandicoot 5. And as for me, well, let's just say I'm doing just fine.